You know me and my name. You've probably seen my face a few times and maybe even admired it. But you don't know my story. No one does. So listen, because every hero has a beginning. And mine, it didn't start like a movie.
Welcome. How are you? How about a quick introduction? What was your childhood like? Can you tell us a bit about it?
It was good. It was even perfect. I went to private schools. I had the best education. I had a predetermined life plan to be a successful doctor, to help people, to make my family proud, to be respected and respected in the eyes of society. But here was the problem. I tried to tell my parents, but they either didn't understand me or didn't want to understand me.
Why? Did you want something different?
One day I wanted to be an astronaut. The next day I wanted to be a writer. But there was one dream that never changed.
What do you mean? What was that dream?
Cameras, stages, lights, telling big stories, showing my feelings to the whole world. From a very young age, when I closed my eyes, I would be on stage. I wanted to be a movie star. But my parents never accepted the idea. They said art is not a real profession. They said being a doctor is your path. There is. And I defied them.
How? What did you do? I can't quite understand. Excuse my excitement. I'm so excited to see you in front of me.
I ran away. Without knowing the cost, without thinking about the outcome, I just went towards that city. Where dreams come true? Hollywood. But dreams can sometimes be misleading.
And then what exactly happens?
And then I stepped into the most dangerous period of my life.
Where did you go? I mean, where did you run away to? Did you plan it in advance? Or did it just happen?
To another country. I had a little money in my pocket, a few pieces of luggage on my back, and a huge dream in my heart. I thought I was going to conquer the whole world. But dreams, sometimes they require sacrifices. No, I didn't really have a plan. I didn't know where I was going, how I was going, what I was going to meet there. I didn't even think about which country would be better to go to. It was a move made with the rebellious spirit of childhood and adolescence. I thought I was free, but I was to learn that freedom was not as easy as I thought.
So what happened there?
I met him. His name was Daniel. The first time he saw me, he smiled and said, "You have stars in your eyes." He was a director. He told me he had been looking for someone like me for years. He said, "I can make you a movie star." And I believed. Daniel didn't just talk about movies. He taught me about life. His words made everything look so easy, so bright. I fell in love with him, but I didn't know that everything has a price. I didn't know yet.
What happened then?
He told me he was going to make me an actor. He showed me scripts. He told me he was going to introduce me to big producers. But first, he said, "You have to understand me." I was so excited at that moment, I was almost weak in the knees. Daniel was exactly what I needed, and he was going to bring me to my dreams. He was going to give me the support that my family didn't give me, and he was going to protect me. I felt like a giant man who was going to protect me from all evil with his caring hands and strong arms. Then, first the special dinners, then the touches, then more. "I have to trust you," he said. "That's how it works in this industry," he said, and I believed. Not only did I believe, I really started to feel something for him. Maybe it was a passion, maybe it was admiration, maybe it was just that I wanted to fall for him. But I didn't see the truth. I was young, I was beautiful, and I was about to become famous. Why should I object? Together we could achieve anything, that's what I thought. But then I found out the truth, that he was married, that he had set up a scheme, that he had deceived many women like me. For a moment, I was shocked. I thought it was a lie, that they wanted to defame him. I even hated myself when I realized that I still wanted to protect him. But in the end, I had to face the truth. And when I found out what happened, Daniel started threatening me. He had my photos, my videos. He said, "If you walk away, if you betray me, I will destroy you."
Whoa, that's scary, but what did you do?
I ran away. But where could I run to? I was lost on the streets of Hollywood. No one knew my name. I applied to so many places. I don't even remember the faces of those who turned me down. But they all had the same thing in their eyes. Fear. I didn't understand it then, but I realized it much later. I wasn't the reason they rejected me. It was that man, Daniel. He had not only stolen my career, he had erased my identity. He was now the biggest obstacle to my dreams. And I was really scared. Even as an unknown, he had scandalous images and photos of me. And he was a well-known Hollywood director. And he was married. And me? I was going to be portrayed as the woman who destroyed her home to become famous. It gave me not only fear, but panic. My family would never forgive me if they found out. It would be the end of me, let alone the fulfillment of my dreams. In that moment, for the first time in my life, I felt really, really scared.
How did you realize? How did you realize that he was blocking you? Maybe you weren't the one? How did you know for sure?
For 4 years, I was never accepted anywhere. They told me I had no talent, but it wasn't true. I knew it too. Then one day, a coincidence. I overheard a conversation. The whole truth came out. Daniel had blacklisted me in the industry. No producer, no agency, no director would take me. Game over. It was time to face the facts, and I started to question myself. Maybe I really wouldn't make an actor. I couldn't even be in a production where I could prove myself. The only thing I did in the name of acting was knocking on doors and getting rejected. And the next thing I knew, I was waitressing in bakeries. For 4 years, I did every job you can think of: cashiering in grocery stores, dishwasher in restaurants, hotel cleaning. At the end of the day, all I got was endless fatigue. I'm not ashamed of them. I'm not ashamed to talk about them. They are neither shameful nor bad jobs, but I didn't need to run away from my family to do them. In fact, if I hadn't run away, maybe I wouldn't have had to do these things at all. And one day, I realized I hadn't heard from my family in a very long time. I hadn't even seen my old friends. I was afraid I'd blurt something out and my family would find me. I guess I started to grow up. And I gave up. I went back to my family.
How did your family take it? That scene must have been very dramatic. Honestly, from the look on their faces, I would be very scared if I were you.
They were miserable for every day they couldn't find me. They had changed too. And then they said something. If you walked away from us for your dreams and got lost because we didn't support you, then we will be there for you now. So I told them everything. About Daniel, about my life, about my dreams. And my family stood by me this time. They sued for him. The media heard about it. Magazines, newspapers, TV. My name was everywhere. But this time, as a victim. And then she came. A woman.
Who was that woman? Your green eyes shine when you talk about her. She played a very important role in your life.
A director, but very different from the others. He too had a difficult life. He grew up an orphan. He was always marginalized from a young age. He had a very strong imagination, and that's what made him different. But instead of seeing it as a talent, those around him believed he was sick. You're losing touch with reality, they said. If you keep this up, we'll put you in a mental hospital, they threatened. But he never believed them. He knew his imagination was a gift, not a curse. No one could stop him. He forged his own path and challenged the world. And when he saw me, he saw himself. He gave me a second chance. And this time, no one could stop me.
Well, would they recognize you from some of your movies?
I know. You look at me and think, I remember this woman from somewhere. But from where? Let me help you remember. How many girls do you think you know who can fight that fast? Or let's put it this way. How many characters are left in your memory who are both fearless and use their femininity with such elegance? You remember that look you get when you walk into a room and silence everyone, don't you? And of course, that mesmerizing voice that appears when you least expect it. You already know how strong my powers of persuasion are. Well, do you remember someone who could control everything? Or do you remember me from those shiny science fiction universes? A soul lost inside a body. Now you understand, don't you? Well, do you dare to say it? Do you really understand who I am? Look, my story is not just one woman's fight to make it in Hollywood. It's the story of everyone who picks themselves up from where they've been knocked down. The world will always tell you what you have to be. They will always want to define who is good, who is bad, who deserves it or not. They will tell you you can't be. They will say this is not your way. But never forget, you are the only one who will decide who you are. If you are willing to remain in the ashes, you will never be reborn. If no one chooses you, then overturn the table. Play your own game. If someone is trying to silence you, make that voice loud enough to echo everywhere. And most importantly, never be afraid, because I am not afraid. And you know who I am, don't you?